Hello, and welcome to Christina's Kitchen. I'm Christina. You and I will take a trip through time as we visit ancient and awesome civilizations and share some time-traveling tastiness. Are you ready? Let's find out what foods the ancient Egyptians enjoyed. Marshmallows come from the sweet sap of the mallow plant that grows in salty marshes near large bodies of water and grow 2 to 4 feet high. Hence, marsh plus mallow equals marshmallow. The ancient Egyptians used the mallow root for making their candied delicacies for their gods, nobility, and pharaohs over 2,000 years ago. Since it was a crime for anyone else to eat this sugary treat, children would eat honey and figs to satisfy their sweet tooth. Egyptian marshmallows were a mixture of mallow sap, honey, and grains baked into cakes. The Romans and the Greeks also loved the mallow plant. They believed that brewed mixtures of the mallow sap cured sore throats and pains. The sugar mixture was found among Hippocrates' medical treatments. During the 15th and 16th centuries, marshmallow liquids were given as treatments for toothaches, coughs, sore throats, and stomach ailments. It was even believed to have been used as a love potion at this time. It was the French during the 1800s that changed the use of the mallow plant from mainly medicinal to more of a candy consumed by adults. French shop owners discovered that cooking and whipping marshmallow sap with egg whites and corn syrup created an easily moldable substance. This is where the marshmallow as we know it today was born. Today, we are going to make our own marshmallows. Get out your ingredients. Vegetable shortening to grease our pan. 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. 1/2 cup of cornstarch. 3/4 of a cup of cold water. 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. 1.5 cups of corn syrup. 3 tablespoons of agar-agar, and a pinch of salt. Grease the bottom and sides of an 8x8 pan. In a small bowl, combine powdered sugar and cornstarch. Use a few spoonfuls of the mixture to coat the pan on all sides and corners. Set the pan aside and save the remainder of the mixture until your marshmallows are completely set and ready to cut. In a 4-quart heavy-bottomed saucepan, pour in 3/4 cup of water. On top of the water, pour the granulated sugar, corn syrup, agar-agar powder, and a pinch of salt. Give 1 to 2 very quick stirs. No need to completely combine by stirring. Bring to a rapid boil until the mixture has reached a temperature of 214 to 220 degrees Fahrenheit. As stoves vary, this may happen quickly or it might take longer, but you definitely want to keep a watchful eye. Once the sugar mixture has come to temperature, remove from heat. Turn your stand mixer, fitted with the whisk attachment, on to low and cover it with a towel to prevent any of the boiling hot sugar from splattering on you, causing burns. Carefully and slowly pour hot syrup down the side of the bowl while the mixer is on low. Then gradually increase the speed until you're finally comfortable with it on high as soon as possible. Just keep it covered with the towel to prevent splatters. Whip the mixture for 10 minutes until thick, almost like a shiny soft serve ice cream consistency, creating ribbons as you pull the whisk up. Immediately transfer the whipped mixture to the prepared 8x8 pan and set it out for 12 to 18 hours uncovered. You want the tops to be completely dried out and not gooey at all. Once they are dried and feeling solid, you can cut them into desired shapes. Once you have cut a marshmallow, Toss it in the powdered sugar and cornstarch mixture so it's coated on all sides. This will prevent it from becoming a sticky mess. At this point, you can s'more it, roast it, or drop it in your hot cocoa, but we're going to make Rice Krispie Treat pyramids with our marshmallows. Let's learn about the mysterious pyramids. The ancient Egyptian pyramids are some of the most impressive structures built by humans in ancient times. Many of the pyramids still survive today for us to see and explore. The pyramids were built as burial places and monuments to the pharaohs. As part of their religion, the Egyptians believed that the pharaoh needed certain things to succeed in the afterlife. Deep inside the pyramid, the pharaoh would be buried with all sorts of items and treasure that he might need to survive in the afterlife. Some of the earlier pyramids, called step pyramids, have large ledges every so often that look like giant steps. Archaeologists think that the steps were built as stairways for the pharaoh to use to climb to the sun god. It's believed that the original burial tombs for pharaohs and high-ranking officials were flat monuments called mastabas. Over the years, each new burial tomb would have another smaller layer added to the top until they began to look like steps. Later pyramids have more sloping and flat sides. These pyramids represent a mound that emerged at the beginning of time. The sun god stood on the mound and created the other gods and goddesses. The building of the pyramids reached its height in the Old Kingdom time between the 4th and 6th dynasties. It is thought that the first smooth-sided pyramid was built between the years of 2680 to 2560 BC for the pharaoh King Snefru. There are around 138 Egyptian pyramids. Some of them are huge. The largest is the Pyramid of Khufu, also called the Great Pyramid of Giza. When it was first built, it was over 480 feet tall. It was the tallest man-made structure for over 3,800 years and is one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's estimated that this pyramid was made from 2.3 million blocks of rock, weighing 5.9 million tons. How the pyramids were built has been a mystery that archaeologists have been trying to solve for many years. It was believed that thousands of slaves were used to cut up the large rocks and then slowly move them up the pyramid on ramps. The pyramid would get slowly built, 1 block at a time. Scientists estimate that it took at least 20,000 workers over 23 years to build the Great Pyramid of Giza. Archaeological excavations have found that, unlike what most people have thought, the pyramids were not built by slaves, but were built by Egyptians that lived in the area. They have found living areas that appear to be for the laborers and their families in an almost community style. The villages seem to be set up with shops, houses, butcher shops, and even bakeries for the thousands of loaves of bread that was needed to feed the workers. It is believed that Giza housed a skeleton crew of workers who labored on the pyramid year-round, but during the late summer and early autumn month, during the Nile's annual flooding of the fields, a large labor force would appear at Giza to put in time on the pyramids. These farmers and local villagers gathered at Giza to work for their god kings, the pharaohs, to build their monuments to the afterlife. Kind of like doing a good turn, this would ensure their own afterlife and would also benefit the future and prosperity of Egypt as a whole. Because it took so long to build them, pharaohs generally started the construction of their pyramids as soon as they became ruler. There was a lot of planning that went into a pyramid. Because of the weight, the location had to be on firm rock because building on sand would cause it to collapse. Specific measurements had to be made on the base size, width, and length. This was one of the most important decisions because if they were off, the pyramid would fall. Rock was cut from quarries that were often quite a distance and carried on boats on the River Nile to the pyramid location. There were millions of pieces of rock that had to be just the right size to fit in place. Egyptologists are not really sure how the ancient Egyptians managed to get the heavy rock, often weighing many tons, up to build the pyramids. Some think that they used ramps, while others think that they may have used sand to release and balance. There are many people throughout the world today that have tried to build smaller pyramids to figure out exactly how it was done. One of the things that everyone notices about the pyramids of Egypt is that they are incredibly large. The smallest of the Giza pyramids is over 200 feet high. The pyramid built by the pharaoh Khufu was originally 480 feet high and is made up of over 2.3 million stone blocks. Each of the blocks weighed about 5,000 pounds and had to be cut to the right size, brought to the pyramid, and put in place by hand. The engineers of ancient Egypt were experts in math. The pyramids that we see today have crumbled quite a bit and don't look at all like they would have upon completion. The pyramids that we see today have crumbled quite a bit and don't look at all like they would have upon completion. Once all of the stones were in place, the entire pyramid was covered in white limestone, and the top or cap of the pyramid would have been tipped in gold. In the bright Egyptian sunshine, the white and gold would have gleamed brightly. If building the pyramids isn't enough of a challenge, the ancient Egyptian engineers planned the blocks so that there were inner chambers and tunnels. Deep inside the pyramids lay the pharaoh's burial chamber, which would be filled with treasure and items for the pharaoh to use in the afterlife. The walls were often covered with carvings and paintings. Near the pharaoh's chamber would be other rooms where family members and servants were buried. There were often small rooms that acted as temples and larger rooms for storage. Narrow passageways led to outside. Sometimes fake burial chambers or passages would be used to try and trick robbers. Because there was such valuable treasures buried within the pyramid, robbers would try to break in and steal the treasure. Once the pyramid was completed, it had armed guards to try to protect it from tomb raiders. The tombs were raided on such a regular basis that it is thought that the secrets were told to others by the builders. If anyone was caught raiding a pharaoh's tomb, they paid a high price. Despite the Egyptians' efforts, nearly all the pyramids were robbed of their treasures by 1000 BC. We're going to make Rice Krispie treat pyramids. Let's get out our ingredients. 1.5 tablespoons of butter, about 20 of your homemade marshmallows, 3 cups of Rice Krispie cereal. In a large saucepan, melt the butter over low heat. Add marshmallows and stir until completely melted. Remove from heat. Add the Rice Krispies. Stir until well coated. With buttered hands, shape into pyramids. Before we go, here are some fun facts about the Great Pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza points very precisely to the north. The pyramids of Egypt are all built to the west of the Nile River. This is because the western side was associated with the land of the dead. The base of a pyramid was always a perfect square. They were built mostly of limestone. There were traps and curses put on the tombs and the pyramids to try and keep robbers out. The pyramids that we see in Egypt today continue to be one of the wonders of the world. Enjoy your pyramids, and we'll see you next time.